From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning here on Mornings LA with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In today's recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people and you in this fourth stimulus recon. It's incredible. Bernie Sanders calls this a historic day for the American people. Then we cut to the vote, the bill, the recon, the bipartisan. They're both going to the finish line together, but the recon is being called for a vote first. Yes, Leader Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, President, and Jalopal all have your back on this to ensure the recon goes first and then the bipartisan. It's the final 15 minutes of the final 7 in this video, stay to the very end. And then we cut to the big money across the board as fish stimulus raises your benefits. Finally, viewers are getting $30,000 from this channel for rent, utilities, food, and internet. I'm going to show you how you get this big money as well. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. It's a big, bold, beautiful morning and an early morning's broadcast. I'm excited you're here. Let's get to all the details starting right now, starting right here on Early Mornings LA. Beautiful day. How's the weather where you are? Boy, we've had wonderful weather here in Santa Monica. Cool, breezy, beautiful sun, nice and sun and shining, and never too hot. It's been several days and just don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. I just fear it's going to, can we just keep it going? It's just perfect. How's the weather where you are? Jump on the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from. And how's the weather on this early morning's broadcast? We'll be going to go over that fourth stimulus check, starting with the monthly stimulus check, why you're likely to get more checks from those Democrats. Then we cut to the recon. Deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you under this fourth stimulus recon. Yes, this is a lot of money. And it's a historic day for the American people, says Bernie Sanders. It's checks for all of you, and I'm going to go over all that later in this video. Then we cut to the big money across the board. And the two bills at issue, the recon and the bipartisan, two pass, but your recon is going first. Leader Schumer does confirm. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. And then suddenly, this. Yes, viewers are getting over $32,000 from this channel. The massive numbers are surging in. I'm going to show you how you get all these big sums of money. It's a big early mornings LA, and this is how America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America, live in the morning and then taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Mornings LA, live on air at 9 a.m. Then noontime, and also Overnight's Crypto, live on air. This video will take you automatically to there when this video is over. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for all your incredible viewership this last week. Fastest growing subscribership in a given week in a long time. So hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends to come on over. And also like this video. 3,000 likes. Every like helps. And consider becoming a member. Let's cut right to that monthly fourth stimulus check with the House versus Senate approach starting right now. House, Senate, two different approaches, but both monthly stimulus checks. House is pandemic plus 1 year. Senate is July to December. Let's go over the monthly payouts. House, $1,000 after the first month. Senate, monthly unknown. But word on the streets, the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Well, with the pandemic far from over, it's very obvious that the House would pay a lot more checks. It would pay pandemic plus 1 year, which under the House bill would be more than 12 checks, more than 12 months. And those 12 checks would be more than $13,000 from the House. Compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from this early morning's LA broadcast. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that if you got a third, you get a fourth. Single individuals, $75,000 less. Democrats represent you get a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 less, and Democrats represent you get a fourth stimulus check. Family of 4, Democrats represent, you get a forced stimulus check, quadruple it, double it for the married couple. And if you're on benefits, Democrats represent, you get a forced stimulus check, SSI, SSDI, and VA. The forced stimulus check is not income, it's not taxable. The forced stimulus check will be the same amount for adult dependents and everyone else. And the forced stimulus check is not a waivable check, it's a monthly check. But I learned my lesson again at Ron Portman's Pork Belly Roast over the weekend. I walked in, smelled delicious. Remember, Ron Portman was that senator who's working on the infrastructure, roads and bridges, but he's also the guy from last year who said, get back to work, you're lazy, I'm cutting off your unemployment benefits. Yeah, that Ron Portman. So I walked in, I got the pork belly sandwich, and it was uncooked. Needed more work on it. So I saw Senator Portman. I waved in the phone. I said, but then I thought, oh, don't wave. Walk up. So I walked up and said, hello, Senator Portman. Hello, LALATE. How are you? I recognize you from your purple shirts. Thank you for coming. Oh, thank you. I didn't want to wave at you from afar, Senator Portman. No, I'm not a waivable check, LALATE. To which I said, Senator Portman, this pork belly sandwich just smells wonderful, but it's undercooked. I think you need to get back to work and cook it a little bit more. Get out of here, LALATE. I wanted to cut off his unemployment benefits as well. And there you go. In the second half of this video, we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you. No time for a naysayer or negative person or a negative nanny. It's $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you under the forced stimulus recon. And if you don't want them, we have a list we're starting. So if you don't want these checks, you can sign it right into the year. I don't know if it's $3.5 trillion. How are we going to miss $3.5 trillion? It's coming, if you don't want it, it's fine. It's more for us. In the second half of this video, I'll go over all that deliciousness of that recon. Then in the final 15 minutes of the final 7, we go over the bill, the votes. Yes, recon and bipartisan. 2 bills, 2 votes, and they're happening nearly any moment. I'm going to go over all that in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end. It's very exciting, great news. But first, this stimulus, which heats up as well. It raises your benefits up a lifetime. It's coming up later in this video. And then we're going to cut to now some moolah. Boy, a few weeks ago I said on this channel, I can get you $5,000 for rent, I can get you money for utilities and SNAP and more, and get a pen and paper ready because I'm going to get you some of that money right now. But something happened along the way. When I said I can get you $5,000 for rent from my videos, 4 to 6 months of rent, this is what happened. Oh my goodness. Elizabeth, my goodness, congratulations. $27,000 for rent for Elizabeth. Mark, $25,000. This is not my $5,000 video. Nancy, $24,000. Richard, $22,000. And Nisi is under the overlay graphic at $20,000. Then when I said I can get you $300 for utilities, and I said, wait a second, I think some people are getting $3,000 now. Well, let's see what happened with the utilities. Oh my goodness. Nancy got $7,000 for utilities from my videos. Mark got $6,500. Angela got $5,000. And then when I talked about SNAP, I said $6,000 so SNAP some viewers are getting. Well, dear Lord. Oh my goodness. Louis, $18,000. John, $10,000. Nancy, what is going on here? This is LA. This is what I do. This channel is all about cashing checks, not tracking checks. In April of last year, this channel launched to get people money because the EIDL loan and grant checks were not coming. They were promised under the law to come within 3 days, and we did not hold up our calendar saying, 3 days has passed, what's happening with the 4th day? We didn't do that because there was no check to track. We didn't track it. We cashed it. I stepped forward and I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loan checks cashed. They weren't coming, but I got them cashed for the viewers. And then in fall of 2020, second stimulus was not coming. There was no check to track, but I stepped forward and I got viewers $250,000 of rent. Like Tyrone, his family 4 out of Boston, I got them $15,000 of rent, paid all their rent between December and the next year. And now we're doing it again. The only difference is you. These numbers are astronomical. And if you're a viewer and you're watching right now and you haven't gotten it, get that pen and paper ready because I'm going to get you that money starting right now. We're going to get some rent, utilities, homeowners, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners utilities. We're going to reach out to different places with different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. They all have their own pots of money and their different eligibility grounds. And also listen to the keywords I say because viewers say the keywords really help them. All right, you ready? You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority. Your county hall, your county housing authority. Your state hall, your state housing authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance, or utility assistance because of COVID. Easy. That's all you say. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Ron Portman's fan club. I don't know that. Yeah, it hasn't existed in a long time. Maybe even never. And there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful pot of money for rent. If you got rent as well, post it on the live chat right now. And also utilities, post it in the live chat. Let's cut now to the money for SNAP. What is SNAP? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. What is the eligibility? About the same as a stimulus check, even easier. How much does it pay? A fortune. Louis got 18,000. John got 10. Lynn Glenn got it for herself. Her son and mom, Gail, got as well. How much does it pay generally? A family of four out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Whoa, why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump that raised your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And boy, we are killing it. Look at these numbers. $25,000 for rent, $7,000 for utilities, $18,000 for SNAP, and we are only 11 minutes of this video. I got more money for you right now. Post your SNAP success stories as well in the live chat if you haven't posted them. We're going to the refund check from your state due to computer error and unemployment benefits. Not your computer, their computer. The federal government has ordered this money returned back to you. One viewer got 3,000, another viewer got 5,000. Where's it landing? Direct deposit. And can you track it? Yeah, contact your state. Say, hi state. Hi state, I want to track that check due to overpayment and computer error. And this time when you track it, can you actually plug in the keyboard? It may help. Yeah, it's a state unemployment office. They're not particularly, so there you go. And the next part of the money is the refund check out coming back from IRS for that 2020 tax return. Margaret got it, Michael got it, Cog got it. And guess what? It's a waivable check. Sorry, Mitch. IRS confirms that the delay is waived. The average payout is $1,265. Delicious. The average direct deposits start July 14th. Paper checks start July 16th. There's a new wave every week this summer. Deliciousness. Now, before I continue about that, here's what I want you to know. This channel is all about viewers loving viewers. Viewers helping viewers. So if you're on the live chat and you've not posted your success story, post it right now. When you do that, you help viewers three different ways. Number one, when viewers see my graphics and they also see you as a live person posting in the live chat, your success story for rent, utilities, or SNAP, whether it's $10 or $100, they get inspired to get that money. Because remember, they may not have got to the money until they realize, wait a second, all these people are getting the money, I'm going to get it. Number two, when they see people like an Art Sullivan who got 3 items, or Nisi who got 3 items, that inspires them to get 3 items. Nancy got 3 items, got 32,000. Mark got 2 items, got 32,000. So Mark, go get another item, bring it to 40,000. Inspires people to get 3 items. Finally, it updates us about the numbers. Let's cut back to that unemployment benefits. Where direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. When this month? How much? Let's say you had $9,000 on unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 in taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go into irs.gov and do a transcript search. It'll reveal the tax return you filed and the taxes you paid. It'll also reveal some stuff you didn't want to know. Stuff you wish you forgot. Like when Ron Portman was on Star Search. Was that hairstyle he had also from Amazon Air? AirTag us, Ron. And it also reveals 70% of the time the refund check came back from IRS. Can we top that? We can, as we go into the second part of the enforced stimulus check update, as I almost drop everything in this video starting right now. Deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people under the fourth stimulus recon. The Democrat caucus members met, these are Democratic senators, all 50 of 50, including her, all met in the last week twice and confirmed they're agreeing upon a $3.5 trillion price tag and passing it and advancing the recon. So it's a done deal. All they have to do is call the vote. This is historic because Bernie Sanders says these are checks for the American people. The recon before that included roads and bridges and made it much bigger, unpassable. The recon was not passable. So they took the roads and bridges out and put it over into the bipartisan, shrinking the recon and making the recon passable and making the bipartisan with the roads and bridges passable. The confirmation comes from conservative publication op-ed recently. That was before the $3.5 trillion price tag was achieved. The higher the price tag was on the recon before, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending and put the roads and bridges into the bipartisan from the recon, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller. There you go, confirmation. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. And ironically, you're hearing for the first time in Early Mornings LA, the recon also made the bipartisan passable. They're now both passable. Chuck Schumer has called 3 votes on the bipartisan. It's advancing. And he's met with the Democratic caucus twice in the Senate. It's advancing, the recon. Both advancing. Once they shrunk this recon a few weeks ago, then the progressives were able to add a little bit more to a big price tag they like, $3.5 trillion. It's a big number, and it's exactly where they wanted it. Representative Ilhan Omar, previously before that, said, we need a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon, $3.5 trillion. And Representative Richie Torres said that we have to have a larger recon. You got it, finally, $3.5 trillion. The Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily to ensure that the recon went big and bold enough. They got it, $3.5 trillion. How did they do this? By protecting the recon. The recon is just checks all progressive ideologies in there. And Brian Schatz, Democrat, progressive, and Jalopal, the same, confirmed that the White House was telling them, protect the recon because everything in there is progressiveness that we love. The White House considers the progressive priorities their own priorities, the White House had told the pair. So what is a recon? What is a bipartisan? How do you write a recon? When do we see the recon? And when is a recon votable? Let's go over all the details starting right now. Over the last 7 days, the level of reporting by broadcast media and print media about the subject matter has gone from a C to an F. It's literally a debacle because what they're doing is they're using the wrong word to describe the other path. Like when they're referring to recon, they're using the word infrastructure. When they're referring to infrastructure, they're using the word recon. They're flipping words and then they're using other words that don't even refer to that. Ugh. So what I want to show you is how you can be informed about what things are. If you are like me and you're tuning in broadcast media, you're like, that makes no sense. You just used the wrong terms again. Let's go over all the details so you're informed. 2 words are used on this channel, recon and bipartisan. Recon, your money. Bipartisan, roads and bridges. That's easy. But what are the other words out there that you need to know about? Recon is also called reconciliation. It's also called the budget bill. You'll recognize it by its price tag, $3.5 trillion. You'll recognize it by the people quoted in the article, a Bernie Sanders or AOC or a Nancy Pelosi. Bipartisan, you'll recognize it as also roads and bridges. It's also called the infrastructure. Bipartisan is also the infrastructure. It has a smaller price tag, less than $1.5 trillion, and the people quoting an article about it are Ron Portman, Kristen Sinema, or Mitt Romney. Okay. That's easy now, we explained it. Who and what is a recon and who writes it? A recon is written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. Who actually puts the pen and paper? The actual recon is written by subcommittees in the House. Democrats with the assistance of Senate subcommittees. For the first time on Early Mornings LA, I'm revealing that these House subcommittee members are not a lot of people. It's just a few people, like 5 here, 10 there, 12 there. It's not a lot of people. And under the Constitution, different subcommittees are delegated different subject matters. So, for example, House Ways and Means Subcommittee is responsible for writing stimulus checks and writing unemployment benefits. When those subcommittees are done with what they're writing, let's say it's 10 subcommittees with 10 pages, they send them up to Chuck Schumer. 10 times 10, 100 pages. He combines it and puts a big S on it for sugary, salty, seductive, Schumerish, Laverne and Shirley. No, for Senate. And that is then the recon bill. Just a start, not law yet. We have an emoji for this. Now, what you need to know is that before that point, there's no constitutional requirement for transparency. So those subcommittee members don't have to show you what they're writing or taking in or taking out. And when it's reduced to bill format, then we see. But we don't have the bill yet. And it's much like a pop singer who has an upcoming album, doesn't want you to hear the songs in the album till it's released. Pretty easy. So broadcast media and myself both agree that we just don't have the bill. And so if you do see a naysayer saying, I haven't heard of this in the recon, guess what? No one's seen the recon. But can we top that? Yes. Jalopal wrote Schumer a letter recently saying Chuck called the vote on the recon. Well, now he is. Congratulations, Jalopal. And the letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of the 100 plus. Yes, 100, who had written to the president a letter saying we're going to be putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow. Can we top that? We can. As 7 members of that House subcommittee, House Ways and Means. Oh, that one you just went over? Yep, that one. Recently wrote the president a letter saying we're putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Whoa, that's wonderful news. We got to keep them purple power to their promise. Absolutely. Keep on pushing purple power. Well, they also represent they're giving you a fifth stimulus next year. More about that later. Can we top that? Yes. The president has done it. 6 weeks ago, the president went overseas to sign a ceremonial signature, but the real signature happened just a few days ago. It's for that confusing tongue twister. The global minimum corporate tax rate minimum. Oh, I'm exhausted just saying that. Why is this great news? Because this exhausting thing is not in the recon. That's really why it's great news. Number one, easier to write the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to vote on call the vote on the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to vote on the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. And easier to pass the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. And can we top that? Yes. As we go into the final 15 of the final 7. In the final 15 minutes of this video, you will see that now the two paths are heading to the finish line. And Chuck Schumer confirms they're both going to get done by the August recess. Yes, he also confirms the recon is going for a vote first. Yes, and we have confirmation about the same from the president, Nancy, Jalapal, and Bernie in this recording. It's coming up in just the next few seconds. Also for stimulus, but something even more wonderful, the volunteers. If you've seen these people getting these big sums of money, you've tried, because always try first, and you can't find it, then reach out to the volunteers. They're on how do you find them? They're on the community page. Open the description. You'll see an emoji of a house. Click that link. It'll send you to the community page. It's news.lalate.com/community. On the community page, the volunteers are separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them, and they'll help you get this big sum of money. And I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with the final 15 of the final 7 on Early Mornings LALATE. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on this big Early Mornings LA broadcast starting right now, direct from Santa Monica. It's a big early morning, and I'm excited for you to join me. Coming up is for stimulus, the final 15 of the final 7. We'll be going over the voting and the bill and the dates. It's all heating up as we get to the final 7 days. Then we cut to fifth stimulus as well. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for all the incredible subscriber growth over the last week. I want you part of this family, so hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The link is on the top of the channel, the pinned comment. Let's get right to the surprising developing details about this stimulus. During the campaign trail, the President of the United States promised the American people to raise your SSI and SSDI and VA benefits. Then during the campaign presidential transition, he promised again. He didn't deliver it either time. So now the Democratic senators and Democratic House members are taking care of it in fifth stimulus SSI reform. When is fifth stimulus? This is the fall, September, to a vote about October, November. What will involve? It'll involve, first, raising your benefits up a lifetime, removing the asset limit, adding inflationary benchmark, removing the income exclusion, and removing the marriage penalty. Okay, let's go over all the details starting right now. Whose benefits get get lifted? Yours do. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, and multiple beneficiaries. Your benefits will be raised one time, a lifetime. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. That new benchmark is inflation. When will it be applied? In December. Where's it going? It's becoming transitory. What is transitory? That's a fancy word said by Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, just a few days ago on Capitol Hill. It means that the inflation rate will spike and then come back down. When is it spiking? In December. Yes, that's perfect timing because that's when they apply your benchmark. How high is it going to go? I've been reporting about 5%. That's what some Wall Street analysts agree. So let's do the analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up, then they'll apply the benchmark. And if it's 5%, your benefits will step up an additional 5%. Not just next year, lifetime. Yes, because once your benefits step up, they never step down. If the inflation rate is 2% the year after that, you'll be at +2, +5%. It's incredible, great news. Then they're removing the asset cap. Dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. Now you'll be able to have some stimulus checks in your hand and no longer lose benefits. Finally, they're going to remove the income cap. Dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to be removed. And you will be able to work. You will be able to work if you wish. And finally, the marriage penalty is going away. And you'll be able to do a pair dance. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. Like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty and do a pair dance at the wedding. If you had your benefits lost before, they'll be restored as well. And that's fifth stimulus. But boy, fifth stimulus is also really heating up with another stimulus check. Yes, those Democratic subcommittee members represent, they're giving you a fifth stimulus next year as well. It would not overlap with fourth stimulus. So there you go. But if you're in the live chat and you notice people that are getting these big sums of money that have an emoji of a purple hawk next to their name and you haven't gotten it, then you should consider becoming a purple hawk as well. The purple hawk emoji link is under the video where it says join here. By joining and becoming a purple hawk, you get access to all the information to get this big sums of money. When second stimulus passed, it was a $600 stimulus check. But I said, sure, I'm going to get you $6,000. I got Tyrone $15,000. And when third stimulus passed, it was a $14 stimulus check. I said, sure, I'm going to get you $14,000. I'm now getting Nancy and other viewers $32,000. So consider becoming a purple hawk because under third stimulus, there is all this fortune of money for you to get. I deliver daily a breakdown of all this money from third stimulus because it's mostly application-based. Purple Hawks have learned that the biggest payouts in these stimulus packages are these sums of money, and they're for you to get. And when fourth stimulus passes, I'm going to get you the $3.5 trillion of checks as well. And with that, let's go into the final 15 of the final 7, starting right now with that recon of those $3.5 trillion of checks starting right now. Deal done. The Democrats have agreed upon a recon of $3.5 trillion of checks coming to the American people. The Democrats have had 2 meetings in the last week that confirms the price tag as an agreement upon them, Senate Democrats, and agreed to advance the recon to the bill voting stage. This is a historic day because all those checks are checks for you. They're all progressive checks. And as Bernie Sanders said, I went in asking for $7 trillion. I got everything I wanted paid for 100%. How did he do that? Because he said he did it with less period of time. That less period of time is probably half because 3.5 is half the time of 7 trillion. Now, all those checks are a lot of checks. It's checks for all of you. But while we do not have the bill yet, I have some of the provisions of what are in there. And here we go. It's checks for everyone, including my seniors and also my workers. Checks for free school meals for all. Checks for tax breaks. Checks for cheaper prescription medication. Checks for immigration reform. Checks for farming. Checks for elections. Checks for free internet. They're going to have free internet for you across the country. They're going to give fortunes to the local cities so that they can launch their own free internet company for you. Checks for clean energy. And now let's go into the checks for my workers and then my seniors. First, my workers. Checks for workers. Checks for independent contractors. Checks for unions. And then seniors. Checks for seniors. Checks for lowering the eligibility age, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. And there you go. While that is not the total list of what's in the recon, it's just some of that incredible $3.5 trillion of checks. Let's now turn over to the recon, to the bipartisan, the roads and bridges. Leader Schumer has had 3 votes on this in the last week, all votes to advance the bipartisan or end discussion, however you want to call it. And the last 2 have passed. Well, what happened over the weekend? Those members of that bipartisan group said that the legislative writing of the bill would be done by Saturday. It was not done, but there's all indications it's going to be done, the bipartisan legislation, the actual bill writing, by the start of the early this week. It's upwards of about 2,500 pages, they say now. So this is incredible, great news. Now, you saw me a little bit neurotic yesterday where I was worried that Chuck was kept on talking about the bipartisan, about the roads and bridges. Well, we now know why. Because this weekend, right after I said that, as if he was watching me, he said both paths are heading to the finish line, and both paths are going to be passed by the August recess. Yes, this is great news. He had said something similar like that a few days ago, I found in some of the comments, where he had, in some of the print articles, where he had said both paths are heading to the end. But he clearly came out and clarified the situation, because I was getting a little skittish because I hadn't heard him mention recon in a few days. Why was he doing this? For obvious reason. The bipartisan, the roads and bridges, was holding everything up. They were just dragging at their feet. So he was like, get it done, get it done, get it done, get it done. Now it's close to being finished. But understand this, the recon is going for a vote first. Schumer confirms this. The president confirms this. Pelosi and Jalopal as well. Let's read some of the comments across the board. The president makes very clear, you have to give me the bipartisan with the roads and bridges. You can't just give me the bipartisan by itself. The president says the following: if only one of the two comes to me, this is the only one that comes to me, I'm not signing it. They have to come to me in tandem. There you go, confirmation. Great job, Mr. President. And then he says, I'm not just signing the bipartisan bill and forgetting the rest of what I propose, the recon. I propose a significant piece of legislation, and all of them have to come to me. So there you go, confirmation. Then we have Nancy Pelosi and Jalopal confirming the same as well. Now, Nancy Pelosi got a visit from Bernie Sanders on Thursday saying, Nancy, you still holding your position? She says, absolutely. And her position is very simple. You have to send to the House, where she is, House of Representatives, the recon, our money, first, not the roads and bridges. And this is what she said to Bernie, but it's also a quote from her a few weeks earlier, which is the same quote. As I said, there won't be any bipartisan unless I have a recon bill first, plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be a bipartisan unless we have the recon bill passed first by the U.S. Senate. There we go. Jalopal, who is a House member, Nancy also is Speaker of the House, also confirmed that the House members are not going to vote in favor of the roads and bridges if that's all they get in the House. We did a poll of our members, Democrats, and the overwhelming majority of our members said they're not going to vote on the bipartisan if it doesn't come with the recon. There you go. So no worries about that anymore. This is all settled down, thank goodness. But it's okay to be a little bit neurotic because you have to ensure these people take care of you. Now, do the Republicans want to try to get the roads and bridges voted on first? Absolutely. Do they have any attempt to do? Did they have any success or likelihood of success on this? Absolutely, 100% no. Why? Because there's only 2 people in the U.S. Congress who determine when things are called for a vote, how, where, and by what means. Those names are Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. No one else has any say as to when things are called for a vote. Neither Mitch, nor Ron Portman, nor Kristen Sinema, they can say anything they want to say and pout as much as they want to pout. They have no say in it. It's only Chuck and Nancy. So that's great news. So now that the roads and bridges is almost finished for bill writing, we're likely to see the recon this week. Here's what you need to know, is at the current status, we have an emoji for this, not bill yet. We don't have the recon yet. But when we see the recon, then we have an emoji for that one, not law yet. This one's a critical one, and trust me, I've been saying this a lot. I'm going to continue to say this, because what I've not made clear to you is the following. These House subcommittee members are not a lot of people. It's just a couple people who work on these House subcommittees. The Senate Democrats, there's 50 of them. The House Democrats, there's over 100 of them. There's a lot of congressional leaders who have not had their hands on the recon. And guess what those Democrats are saying? I'm modifying when it gets to my hands because I've not had a time to even look at it, even let alone touch it. This is great news for you because the recon may have items that are incorrect in there. It may be imperfect. Something may be left out. Something may be too small. Something may be too big. Something may need to get modified. And the $3.5 trillion price tag is just the Senate Democrats' agreement. The House Democrats could still go even bigger. They're not locked into a $3.5 trillion ceiling. They can go higher. And so this is great news across the board. They're going to modify things because it lands in the Senate first, then over to the House, then back to the Senate for the two-day vote-a-rama. You want them to modify things that are imperfect. Finally, messaging. It's important for you to stay positive. You've been doing a great job. It's important for you to go on social media and push because these final days when we do see the bill is when you got to push. Things may not be fine and you need to push. It's important to stay positive. It's also important to stay focused. Some of the comments I saw, one or two of the comments I saw on noontime yesterday was a viewer said, I don't know if this is going to land in my hand. There's $3.5 trillion of checks. There's $3.5 trillion of checks. And yes, there's $3.5 trillion of checks in this recon. If you don't want them, that's fine. We have a list we're starting here. For everyone who doesn't want $3.5 trillion of checks, put your name down and we'll just sort of take you off the list when those checks come out. It's $3.5 trillion of checks. Second thing you need to know is that as you've seen from this list here, the Purple Hawks have really learned well from this channel that who cares what the thing is called so long as it's money. If you get $32,000 of your bills paid, who cares what the money is called? It's $32,000. Why would you care what it's called? And that's what's going to happen with forced stimulus. It's $3.5 trillion of checks that are going to come to you to pay for things. Who cares what it's called? And that's what you've learned so well, and I'm very, very happy for you under third stimulus. Yeah, $14 stimulus check, but you got $32,000 on top of that to pay for, because $32,000 is just a little bit more than $1,400. You got $32,000 because there was other money in there. And when forced stimulus passes, trust me, as a Purple Hawk, I'm going to ensure you get every penny of that across the board. Finally, I'm interested to see the reaction among Republicans and Democrats to Kyrsten Sinema's introduction of a very controversial provision. On Friday, word got out in the cryptocurrency industry, and you saw me on Twitter talking about this and saying my disavowing of the Roads and Bridges bill, because Kyrsten Sinema inserted a crypto regulation provision into the Roads and Bridges on the Friday before it's called for a vote at the start of the new week. And the Blockchain Association got wind of it, and I don't know how they did. They're not happy. Republicans are invested in crypto. Democrats are invested in crypto. And while people like regulation, no one likes regulation that's sort of thrown at the 11th hour into something that's not a regulation crypto bill. So I'll be interested to see if the Roads and Bridges gets derailed for half a day to get that thing out of there, because it doesn't belong in there. We'll see that across the board. This week will be a lot of developing details and a lot of twists and turns. Remember to stay focused, stay positive, and stay motivated. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay on this video. It'll automatically take you to Overnight's Crypto, currently playing on the channel. And coming up next is Mornings LATE live on air. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here. And stay with LATE for more.